Hey guys, Coach here. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm glad you took a few minutes to stop by and maybe learn a little something. Hey, this week we're talking about landscape budgets. Those budgets where, man, super tight, but it's the type of budget and type of project that you have to do. You got to get out there and do it. Maybe because you're selling the house, maybe because you just bought the house, not a lot of spare change around, and you need to do it on a very, very strict budget. Well, that's kind of what we're at here at Brook and Pond. I could dip into the big savings account and just go crazy if I wanted to, but that's not really financially responsible. I personally will never eat nothing more than canned pork and beans and have a real nice landscape. It's just not the way I operate. Maybe it's not the way you operate either. Anyway, that's what we're talking about today. Hey, join me while we search out and explore some of the alternatives that just might get you over the hump and allow you to do those projects without breaking the bank. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back. Hey, you know, since October of last year, 2023, Maestro and I picked up Brook and Pond for basically a base camp. We had been traveling for many years, and we finally just got enough travel out of our system where we wanted to settle in and still do traveling and stuff, but we wanted a base camp. So when we got Brook and Pond, I could see that it was a blank slate. It wasn't anything that I had to do, but there were things that I wanted to do, and I got all excited. And while escrow was going through its escrow, and we were dealing with sellers who weren't exactly cooperative, I had time to measure out some things, put some things down on paper, and I had some grandiose plans. Then that old thing called reality came in and checked in with me this spring. After we got back from out west, after we brought our cargo trailer back and had some things, I had some tools again, I could actually get going. Then that reality check kind of set in, and I saw how much inflationary costs were compared to when we last landscaped. And that was probably, well, that was at Weed Patch Ranch, so we're talking 2018-ish. And to see the cost of bulk materials, plants especially, and other stuff related to landscaping, I just kind of went, I was literally gobsmacked. I really was. And being almost up in Canada, there's not a lot of retail competition to suppress prices and keep them stable. Businesses can ask almost any amount. And what are you going to do? Are you going to drive hundreds of miles somewhere to go get something that's available here and spend the fuel cost to go get them? Chances are not, unless it's a combination type of trip. So what I've done as far as landscape exploration and what type of costs are going to be involved, I saw that I couldn't go retail every single time. There were some things that we had to do retail, like redoing the inside of the garage this winter. We had to go retail because people may have had a couple of bundles of insulation somewhere, but I needed 30 bundles. So yeah, you could save a few pennies, but by the time you went out and run around, it wasn't going to save you a lot of dollars. So come springtime, I'm looking for gravel, I'm looking for plants, I'm looking for all kinds of stuff to get things going. And retail wasn't doing it for me 100%. And that's where I made just a little bit of a mind shift. I'm not well versed on social media platforms. I'm not. I come to you through Maestro, who is very, very versed in how this stuff works. I'm just a face in front of the camera, and she's the wind beneath my wings. So we went down and we priced out some plants down at a local nursery, down in a town that's probably about 40 miles away. It's kind of the hub of the county. And our county is huge. It's a massive county, bigger than Delaware and Rhode Island put together. And we only have about 40,000 people county-wide. So there's there's only a few retail outlets here and there that you kind of have to patronize in order to get the things you need. There's only one big box store, a big blue box store, and that's about 40 miles away as well. So you really kind of learn to combine your trips. And when we went down and started shopping at a local mom and pop nursery and at the big blue box store, we found gallon can plants, $12, $14, $16, even $18 for a gallon can plant. And I looked at my design and I looked at the prices and I went, by the time I bought everything for the beginning of the landscape projects, I was over $6,000 just in plant material alone. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. So enter Facebook Marketplace. Something that back in October, I really wasn't very versed in at all. I knew it was there, but I had not perused it at all. And I started looking. I started putting in various searches and looking for local stuff. And lo and behold, hey, you know, about a month or so ago, we needed to do that creek restoration. And although the timber and everything that I needed to put in the creek and to change some of the flow pattern and slow things down a bit, I also needed rock for the culvert area to reinforce it and make it sturdy so when we do get some big rain events, I know it's not going to wash out our driveway. Enter Facebook Marketplace. There was a guy in a nearby town. He's going to widen his driveway and he had to cut back into a hillside at his house, and it was all covered in riprap rock. And we're talking rocks that were about, you know, about this big on average. They weren't light, I'll tell you that. So I hit him up and we struck a time. I went down and looked at it, and sure enough, everything was good. We started loading up the pickup, and we did it twice. 2 big, heavy loads of rock for the cost of going down there and back, plus a Subway lunch. It turned out to be about a whopping $30. Definitely sweat equity, no doubt whatsoever. And we got them placed, we got them stacked. I backfilled with a lot of the soils that came out of the drainage project that we did. Those videos were the past couple of weeks, but I had lots of tailings and I was able to backfill down there at the creek. And then I took some stuff from the forest as far as ferns and grasses and some wood violet and other stuff, planted it in there, got some forest stuff and other things and conditioned the soil a little bit. Hey, it's still looking good to this day. Don't see a lot of stress on any of the plants. So boom, Facebook Marketplace really came into vogue for me when we had to do that project. Then I started looking at plants. I was telling you, $14, $16, $18 for a gallon can was outrageous. And then you're talking somebody who's been in the nursery industry off and on from the 70s all the way up into the 2000s. Yeah, that was off the charts ridiculous. There was no way. So enter Facebook Marketplace again. And we found a guy here in our local town about 8 miles away, and him and his wife were downsizing, and he had dug up all these perennials that he had been nurturing for decades in his backyard, and he was selling them off before they sold the house, which I thought was kind of weird, because why wouldn't you just leave them in the ground and sell the house? It would look that much better. No, I think he was trying to kind of flush out his wallet a little bit before the move. I didn't care, but instead of paying $16 for a gallon can hosta, I paid $4. And we picked up, well over $100 of plants, and they're still staged up at our front door, getting taken care of every single day, and I'm just waiting to get some other things in place before we actually put them in the ground. So I spent $100, and if you did the math and just did 22 times 18 plus tax, you're talking well over $400. And so I saved, $350, and I have enough perennials that when I plant the hillside on those transplanted arborvitae, it's going to fill in the whole project right there for $1.25. Not too bad. So most people don't think of landscaping through Facebook Marketplace as the primary source of why you would go there. People go there to do clothes or cars or other things. But if you really do some searches and you monitor it somewhat regularly, you can find some really good deals. You can find fencing, you can find patio furniture, barbecues. We just picked up a brand new Weber barbecue with accessories and 2 bags of charcoal for $1.50. That retail-wise would have been over $300. And we've used it, and it's working out great. So if you need something like fence posts, you need stuff like fill boards for your fence posts, you need rails, you need tools. I mean, oh my gosh, the number of hand tools that are in there, electric power tools, gas power tools, all the things that a homeowner might need to collect, maybe restore just a little bit, and then put to good use, and you're not buying brand new. It's very much a win-win situation because it also teaches you the frugality that can take your dollar much, much further down the road. Right now, we got our eyes on some blueberry plants. They're on Facebook Marketplace. They're in gallon cans, and instead of $26 to $48 at the big blue box store, they're on sale, high bush blueberries, for $12. Not too bad. Well under, much more than a 50% discount. And they look like they're healthy, and they look like they would work. So we got our eyes on that. The other thing is through Facebook Marketplace, you can also do local bartering again now. Something where you see something that you really, really want, contact the person, and maybe there's a labor swap, or maybe you have something that they want, and you can work out deals that way. Now, this is not for the shy, timid person. I mean, you have to be able to read people, negotiate with people, and do the things you have to do in order to accomplish your goal of your landscape project. But think of it this way. I was on there yesterday and I saw something like 75 or 80 retaining wall blocks, the kind that you buy at the box store. And instead of paying $5 something a block, they had them on there for $2.50 a block. You'd have to still do the manual labor. You'd have to go get it. And if it was local, not too much fuel, just your time. So I'd really like you to key in on that fact that there are other alternatives besides retail. Another option is learn how to root cuttings, because mom and dad's house, Uncle Joe's house, maybe Uncle Ed in the backyard has a whole bunch of fencing that is perfectly good. All you need to do is pull a few nails, maybe throw some wood bleach on there and pressure wash it, and you could fill in that whole broken piece of fence for next to nothing except going and getting it and helping Uncle Ed's yard out by getting rid of it. So there's sources out there that can kind of fight back and punch out inflation just a little bit and still allow you to do what you need to do. Pavers for paver patios, they're on there. If you look for seed products, seeds are still the best way to fight off inflation when it comes to some things. Everybody can grow vegetables from seed, but not a lot of people think about perennials. And perennials are kind of free plants once you get them up and running. For most perennials, they're dividable after a few years. Like the ones that we picked up some daylily and some liatris and some hosta. We even got some autumn joy sedum and some hens and chicks, stuff that lives up in our zone, but once established, you could go in there right after frost and thaw, and you can cut those guys into thirds or fourths, and all of a sudden, for the cost of a $4 plant, you get actually 4 more plants. That's free plants that you could go and put in other parts of your yard or give away to family and friends. So think about it from an outside the box approach. So we are going to keep our eye on the proverbial iPad screen and scroll through this stuff throughout the whole growing season to see what comes up. And for brook and pond here, there's also things that we can use right on the property itself. We have firewood available out in the forest. We have native plants like the ground dogwood is in bloom right now. It's a great little ground cover if you pick and choose parts of it and put it into the landscape. So we're going to exercise that as well. So tell me, drop it in the comments below. Have you used Facebook Marketplace for a landscape project, for some outdoor living type of situation? Patio furniture, barbecues, outdoor living like arbors or a bug room, which right now we could use. Anyway, that's what I have for you this week. I think it's a great way to hedge inflation just a little bit. It requires you to immerse yourself into it. And if you have a vehicle to haul stuff, or you know somebody who has a vehicle that you can borrow, that way you can end up getting plants, you can get rock, you can get a boulder or two, whatever you might need, and you don't have to shell out as much. You're always gonna have to shell out a little bit. The other thing is just like Craigslist, I'm sure Facebook Marketplace has its association of thieves on there, you know, and people who don't have your best interest at heart. So take somebody with you, stay safe, and always remember you can say no and walk away, no matter what kind of price they're talking about. If there's something wrong in your gut, there's probably something wrong with the deal. So that's all I got to say about that. Hey, as always, to your guys' landscape success, thank you very much for those who have reached out to the website, got yourself a Landscaping Simplified book, picked up a landscape checklist. I very much appreciate it, and I look forward to a couple of the consultations that I have this week with you guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, or you can shoot me an email. The email is right in the description. In any case, I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.